International Monetary Fund cutting its growth forecast, leading to more inflation questions at the White House, which points to Russia's war in Ukraine raising food and gas prices.
And the president has done all that he can and will continue to do the work to bring those prices down.
Spokeswoman Karine Jean-Pierre says the U.S. is in a stronger position than any other country to navigate global challenges. The White House COVID response coordinator is still getting questions about the president's comment last month that the pandemic is over.
Let me be very clear. The president also followed that up with COVID is not over.
The White House response chief, Dr. Ashish Jha, says they continue working to fight COVID, which is still killing hundreds of Americans each day. He says the new updated booster shots designed to target Omicron variants should provide a higher level of protection against infection, serious illness, and death. But he also warns as flu season kicks in.
What happens in the weeks and months ahead will have a large impact on how the winter goes. And really what happens in this winter is largely up to us as the American people.
Adding they continue to track the rise of more COVID subvariants around the world. British actress Angela Lansbury has died.
Hail as old as time.
Movies, Broadway, TV. Angela Lansbury conquered them all. Her voice and face known and beloved by generations of fans. As the voice of Mrs. Potts in Disney's Beauty and the Beast.
Beauty and the Beast.
As murder mystery writer and crime solver Jessica Fletcher in the long-running TV series Murder, She Wrote. She starred on Broadway as Mama Rose in Gypsy, as well as in Mame and The King and I.
Fox's Monica DeLuca. Lansbury, a 3-time Oscar nominee, 5-time Tony Award winner. She died early today at her home in L.A., just 5 days shy of her 97th birthday. America's listening to Fox News.
Every search you make, every click you take, they'll be watching you.
Tired of companies like Google and Facebook watching everything you do online? There's actually a simple solution. DuckDuckGo. It's an all-in-one privacy app with a built-in private search engine, web browser, one-click data clearing, email protection, and more, all for free. Download the app today and get the most comprehensive privacy protection with the push of a button. DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
The roar of our engines, the pump of our heartbeats, the pedal to our metal, the sparks that ignite us, the pistons that push us, the passions that drive us. From the feelings that move us to the places that pull us on the roads that unite us. With nearly 6,000 stores and over 17,000 auto care centers, Napa has America's largest network of parts and care, here to keep you firing on all cylinders.
A carbon monoxide leak at a Pennsylvania daycare center sends more than 24 children and several adults to the hospital.
Allentown Mayor Matt Turk says all of the children have been stabilized. The initial call was for an unconscious child. Once unsafe air readings were taken,
they did triage in the parking lot, immediately called in partners from neighboring communities to make sure that we got everybody to hospitals.
The Happy Smiles Learning Center, Mayor Turk says, is now closed.
There's a number of permits or a number of inspections that they're going to have to pass prior to reopening.
He urged parents to check their kids' daycares to ensure they have hazard detectors and they're all in working order. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
NASA says its Save the World test worked, smashing into an asteroid to nudge it out of the way. They were hoping they could alter the asteroid's orbit around a companion space rock by 10 minutes. Instead, the change was about 32 minutes. Administrator Bill Nelson says NASA's trying to be ready for whatever the universe throws at us. A coronation date is set for Britain's new king.
The ceremony for the coronation of King Charles III is set for May 6th next year. An official statement from Buckingham Palace says it will take place at Westminster Abbey in London, where it has been done for the last 900 years. The coronation will be conducted by the Archbishop of Canterbury. The ceremony usually happens several months after a king or queen takes the throne to allow for a period of royal mourning, as well as time to organize and prepare the coronation. Buckingham Palace says the crowning of Camilla, Queen Consort, will also happen during the ceremony. Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
A choppy day with a mixed finish on Wall Street. The Dow up 36 points. The S&P and the NASDAQ both falling. I'm Lisa Brady. This is Fox News.
Hello again, everyone. Let's check weather for Eastern Illinois, Champaign-Urbana vicinity, and some much-needed rainfall on the maps and charts of the radar sweep over the next couple of days. Shower activity on the increase overhead and back to the west. It'll be in and out and on and off for the day-to-day and in through tonight and tomorrow. It'll be the first of a series of cold fronts to follow in right behind, and the mild days coming to an end with the exception of Saturday. We'll see those temperature readings well below seasonal expectations by early next week. Not as mild today. Clouds thicken and lower. Some shower activity breaking out. More so this afternoon. Can't rule out a couple though around this morning. The high near 70, gusty south wind. Showers early and late night tonight. A thunderstorm response down to 60. Windy turning cooler for the day tomorrow. Variably cloudy, occasional showers. Maybe a thunderstorm up to 68 and dropping as wind shifts southwest. Windy cooler on Thursday. Mostly sunny 57. Heading towards the weekend. Friday chilly at 55, but will warm to 66 on homecoming Saturday. A couple of showers around on Sunday. High temperatures there in the middle 50s. For Stevie J Broadcasting, I'm Meteorologist Greg Solier. It's showtime.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Pipes is writing down a lot of stuff. I'm just going to go from the gut. And joining us now, Coach Bielma, Josh Whitman joining us now.
You get to say all the cool name drops.
Do it.
Brad Underwood, our guest.
College hoops.
How do you lose to Jackson State?
Call up every single person in the media that didn't put Kofi first team All-American. And I don't know, just play like clown noises.
I want to bet the Bears.
Oh, Michael Porter Jr. has been good, but he thinks the earth is flat, so I can't pick him.
Oh, boy.
Throw it up to Kofi, and he's just going to tear the rim off.
How is he so good? All right, Hans, I'm going to mute you for a while.
Okay.
Oh, there's a timeout on the court!
So what we want to do is build a same-game parlay that will win all of us some money.
Maybe Rondale Moore could be Cooper Kupp, but he's not. Is it Instagram?
Yeah.
Is that what IG means?
I think you have to win the Big Ten title to win Big Ten Player of the Year.
Woohoo!
Wow, what a bad take.
Derek Piper throwing out bad takes everywhere. What is going on there? All right, it is The Drive. Good morning. The Drive would say in Piper, but we don't have Piper to my left. To my left is Kyle Tosk, our intern turned co-host today. You ready for this?
The rookie's getting his first career start. Normally I'm on the sidelines with the clipboard, right, just letting you guys do your thing, but now I got some bright lights on me.
How are the jitters?
I got a little bit of them.
Yeah?
You know.
Okay.
But
otherwise,
I'm ready to go.
Okay, he's here, and he's going to fill some time with me, which I appreciate, Kyle, because Derek Piper is in Minneapolis for Big Ten Media Day. He's on his way back, actually, right now. So we hope to hear from Pipes around 5:30 tonight and get his take on what happened with Big Ten Media Day up in Minneapolis. Of course, they're doing it in Minneapolis because the Target Center will be hosting the women's Big Ten tournament this year, and then next year the men will be playing at Target Center for their tournament. So, you know, we kind of get spoiled here in Champaign-Urbana, and the idea that Chicago and Indy are two really solid locations. I know a lot of people love Indianapolis, and it's such an easy drive over. It's easy to get around Indianapolis. It seems like the hotels are easier to get to because they're more centrally located to where the teams play than that in Chicago. But certainly, you know, all of a sudden they had it out east one year. That wasn't the best. And then, of course, now they're going to take it to Minneapolis in the Target Center. And again, that'll be the women's Big Ten tournament this year. The men will do that next year. So they wanted to give Minneapolis a chance to host the Media Days today. So as goes with Media Days, you had a couple of Illini players, Coleman Hawkins, Terrence Shannon, Jr., were up there. So they met with the media today. Brad Underwood, Shauna Green, they met with all of the media on the big stage. And, coming up, we're going to hear from Brad Underwood and what he had to say today. So, again, we'll hopefully hear from Derek Piper at 5:30 and get his idea of what's going on. You and I were just talking. Terrence Shannon Jr. he's a quiet dude, right? And he's like one of those guys that you look as a leader, right, of this team, but he's quiet.
Yeah, I was surprised by that because everything I've heard has been about how great his leadership has been, how he's calling guys out in practice, obviously his work ethic, but with media, it seemed like he was pretty soft-spoken, so I was kind of surprised by that.
Well, and then Coleman Hawkins is the complete opposite. Coleman is like, let's go. They said today, because they were laughing about Terrence Shannon Jr.'s he's at Ubben at 4:30 in the morning, and they asked Coleman about that because they're roommates, and Hawkins is like, sometimes I hear him rustling around in the middle of the night. They're like, you don't get up? And he goes, no. He's like, but we'll be watching Thursday Night Football, and he'll start to the game will begin, and Shannon's like, hey, night, guys, I'm going to bed, and it's 7:30.
That's
So
crazy.
he's like me. He must be like 52 years old or whatever, but pretty good stuff there with Terrence Shannon Jr. and Coleman Hawkins. We'll hear more about that as we roll along, and again, we'll ask Pipes about that. Coming up at 5:05, our good buddy, well, maybe not yours.
Not mine yet.
Not yours yet, right. My good buddy, Mike Carpenter, of course, former co-host of the Tay and Carp. He is going to join us at 5:05. I have to get his thoughts on this Illinois football start at 5-1. I want to pick Carp's brains and kind of ask him about what he thought of this past Saturday, what he thinks going ahead for homecoming, and what that will detail. Of course, the Big Ten Network is going to bring their big stage down. In fact, they're causing a little bit of a stir in Lot 31 for a bunch of us. So I'm going to have to go with boxing gloves Saturday morning and make sure we get our spot. But they are moving in, and they get first dibs, obviously. So Big Ten Network will be there. I don't know why they're not in Grange Grove. I don't know if maybe some of the donors over there said, no, you're not taking my spot, or if there's just some logistic issues that need them to be in Lot 31, or maybe they want them to be in Lot 31 because they know all the cool people tailgate in Lot 31. So maybe that's the case, but we will.
Little offense to that, though, because I had my family down here this weekend, and we were in one of the research park lots because we're amateur tailgaters.
Yes, you are. Listen, I spent a lot of years in Research Park doing the tailgating over there. So, that's a good spot. Then you just have
we had a good time.
Kind of a long walk to the game after. But, you and I need to switch places because I could use the walk. You don't need it. So I don't know why I didn't have you come down to our tailgate.
Yeah, we should have made that happen.
I don't know why I didn't even think about that. Of course, I wasn't sure when you were going to be there. And actually, let's just cut to the chase. I didn't want you there. So, right. but if your parents are coming down this week, you're more than welcome. Okay, and you can come by our tailgate spot.
But yeah, next time I got the whole gang in town, we'll make sure to meet up.
Let's do that. That would be absolutely fun. So a lot of stuff is going to be happening again. I'll talk to Mike Carpenter at 5:05 to hear from him. A little bit later this hour, PJ Fleck, he met with the media, and I thought, you know what? I know we give him a lot of razzing, right? Row the boat. PJ is one of those. It's a little bit hyper. He runs up and down the sidelines with his team. And he's just one of those guys that can really annoy you, especially if his team is beating you. He's a guy that coached in Illinois in the state, and obviously he's from here, I believe. Caneland was what Jay Lehman said yesterday. So he's a guy that obviously resonates with Illinois fans, and he has done quite the job at Minnesota. Now, the hatred for P.J. Fleck, maybe not quite as bad right now because Illinois went up to Minneapolis last year and defeated the Gophers, but certainly this is a huge game. And this is one of those, Kyle, and I'll ask you this. It's great what's happening, right? You go up and you defeat Wisconsin for the first time since 2002 in Madison. Then you come home and you beat Iowa for the first time since, 8 straight times they've beaten.
2008, I
2008.
think, was the last time.
That's a good call because Britt Miller from Decatur was roaming the linebacker spot when Illinois beat Iowa. So you're updating two stats that needed updated, no doubt, and it's easy to get caught up in that. And you should, right? As a fan, you should absolutely relish the idea that you're 5-1, you're ranked 24th in the country. And by the way, that flash sale still going on until 9 a.m. tomorrow at FightingIllini.com. $24 for tickets anywhere in Memorial Stadium you can get for $24. Again, go to FightingIllini.com. But, you look at a guy, get back to my point. You're excited about that, and you should be, right? But I feel like kind of like with the team, and they've done this quicker than me, but I woke up this morning and I was kind of like, you know what? I'm not saying it could all go for naught. Obviously, the win over Wisconsin and Iowa is fun. You're within a game of going to a bowl game. I don't know how you don't get that done with the schedule ahead with Nebraska and Northwestern, Michigan State at home. I think those are some winnable games, obviously. Purdue, of course, is here. But when you look at it, right now you're hungry for a Big Ten West championship. Let's be honest, right? So why not shoot for the top? If the bowl game happens and you don't win the Big Ten West, then are you disappointed? Yeah. But also, you're still enjoying the fact that you could win 7 or 8 games and go to a nice bowl game. But right now, the focus is squarely on the Big Ten West. And if you're going to win the Big Ten West, more than likely, you're going to have to beat Minnesota this Saturday. So it's almost like, Kyle, you've done 2 incredible things the last 2 weekends, winning in Madison and then, of course, winning at home against Iowa. But you know what? Throw it all out the window, because if you don't win this Saturday, you're kind of knocked off pace of where you want to be.
Yeah, absolutely. I was wondering about that, because just with how the game Saturday was so emotional, and the fact that,
good call,
the environment was the best that we've seen it in a long time, at least the best I've seen it, and since I've followed Illinois. But I was wondering, because I was celebrating with my family. I was feeling great, Sunday, celebrating the win. But then I'm like, wait a minute, we got arguably, I think we got a bigger game.
Good call.
In the Big Ten West race, as important as that Iowa game was for the program. I think when you look at the Big Ten West, I think Minnesota is a better team. So it's going to be interesting to see how the team refocuses themselves, because, I mean, this is kind of a must-win game if you do want to go to Indianapolis.
It's kind of funny if you reverse your schedule in the Big Ten West. Like, you look at this and you look at it, if you reverse it, now you go from Northwestern, obviously a team that's won 2 Big Ten West titles, but let's don't include them. I mean, they're terrible, right? So I'm going to start with Purdue. Purdue normally would be like 4th on that list, right? Behind Wisconsin, right, Iowa, Minnesota, and Purdue. This year, though, now that Purdue has taken down Minnesota, you almost get the feeling that your final game in this chase for the Big Ten West, and again, I'm not including Northwestern here in this, just with the West again. So. Then all of a sudden, your final game with Purdue is going to be a little bit bigger than the game against Minnesota. Yeah. The Minnesota game, like you pointed out, and you're on point, a little bit bigger than the Iowa game. Mm-hmm. The Iowa game obviously got a little bit bigger than Wisconsin, but obviously you've made that happen too. You're the one that is making that happen. And of course, the other idea to that is the Wisconsin and Iowa games were personal. You had Brett Bielema, who had connections to both programs. We know the story. I don't have to go into that. Well, there's not a lot of connections to Minnesota. I know he said he knows P.J. Fleck. Well, obviously he does. He's got a little bit of a history with P.J. Fleck. But now all of a sudden, throw the emotions out. Brett Bielema definitely wanted to beat Wisconsin. He definitely wanted to beat Iowa. But the idea now, and like you said, and I think on point, now you've got a Minnesota team that a lot of people thought could win the West or would win the West. You've got Mo Ibrahim, who sat out the last game. Now they've had a bye week, and they feel like, all indications from hearing P.J. Fleck today is that Mo Ibrahim will be ready to roll in that game against Illinois. And not only that, but fresh, right? And his team will be fresh. So I think you're on point there, that this could be a big game. And then, hey, you take care of Minnesota, and guess what? You can't get too excited yet, because then you got Purdue still on the schedule.
Absolutely, yeah. I think this is going to be the biggest challenge, obviously, that Illinois faced so far on Saturday. When you look at the way the defense is played, I think Minnesota is probably the best offense you've seen so far, and just the fact that with how amazing this defensive line has been in stopping the run game, now you got a guy in Mo Ibrahim that's right up there with Chase Brown in rushing stats and with what production he's put up. I think Tanner Morgan, not a great quarterback, but I think he's better than a lot of these guys in terms of he can make some tougher throws. He's capable of having a game where he can beat you, unlike Spencer Petras, obviously.
No doubt.
So I think it's going to be a big test for this defense. I'm not going to be as confident as I was last week that this touchdownless streak at Memorial Stadium is going to continue. I think it's going to be a challenge, and also Tommy DeVito's health is going to be really important.
That's huge. I want to play off both of those as we hear from P.J. Fleck here. In fact, because you finished it with the quarterback, I'll start with P.J. Fleck talking about that. He was asked today at his press conference actually it was yesterday, about the idea of not knowing exactly who's starting quarterback for Illinois.
We don't know what quarterback we're going to face, right? Just like last week, we didn't know what quarterback we're going to face. But you have seen the backups in a lot of different games. When we played Purdue, we saw the backup play. If there's a drastic style of a drastic style of quarterback play in difference of how they play, then I think you have to scheme. If one's just a runner and the other's a passer, there could be a schematic difference that you have to be ready for both, and you have to scheme that part. If they're both pretty much pocket passers, then it just comes down to, okay, what do they do really well? But very similar to last week. I think 12 was a little bit more of a runner for Purdue, that if he was going to play, maybe we'd have a little bit more quarterback run in. But then you get down to your second quarterback, like, well, how much are they going to actually run him? Same thing with Illinois. We played against Arter before. I'm not sure if he's going to play or DeVito's going to play. One of those guys are going to play. But they have very similar styles. They're going to run their system, and I don't see it changing drastically. Are there going to be little nuances that maybe Art does a little bit differently? Sure. Do they have a week to prepare for that? Absolutely. Then just throw a backup in a game. But we'll be ready for what they do and how they do it, and then adjust during the game.
There you go. And again, we have no idea who is going to be starting for Illinois. I know that Lindy gave us some on-the-ground coverage of seeing Tommy DeVito in lot 31 after the game. But I'm nothing against you, Lindy. I'm going to wait to see what Jeremy Bush and that training crew come up with for Tommy DeVito. And, of course, the idea that the good news, I guess, let's be honest. There's no good news if Tommy DeVito doesn't start. But the one little bright spot is that you'd have a week to get Art Sitkowski. Are you ready?
Boiler up.
Nice. All right. That was your first big step there.
There we go.
All right. Pipes is in danger right now. He better get back here in a hurry. Of course, he's in the air right now, not listening, so he probably doesn't care.
In the air with Brad Underwood and Terrence Shannon and all those guys.
I doubt they're listening to us on the radio. I mean, if they are on the plane, that's awesome.
Great.
Coach, how is everybody? Great to see everybody. Glad you had a good time in Minneapolis. That's not happening. But it is one of those situations where, Art Sitkowski at least gets a week of Barry Lunny Jr. going through game plans with him. Barry Lunny kind of running a game plan for Art Sitkowski, getting ready for that. Now, we talked about the running backs, Mo Ibrahim, and also, of course, P.J. Fleck was asked about Chase Brown. Let's start with Mo and talking about the idea with the injury for him. Are they worried that Ibrahim could have more issues with this injury?
We wouldn't put him out there if that was the case. We would have played him last week, but the bye week was, a great opportunity for him to have a, 7 to 10 day, 7 to 12 day type injury, allow him to have 3 full weeks of recovery. So that's all you can continue to do is, football's a violent game. People are going to get hurt. You know that. But you as a coach have to do everything you can to create an atmosphere of the ability for players to get healthy. And he's played a ton of football. It's not like we need Mo on every single down of every practice. He practices. He hates to not practice. But, we need to work on getting him to game day. And, and he's done a really good job of that. And but no, nothing would it's football. I can't sit there and promise you that. It could be something else. It's football. But I know our doctors and our medical staff have his health at the forefront of their mind always. And they're always going to protect him the best we possibly can. And but I don't see that being something that he's still fighting through the next time he goes on the field.
All right, that is Mo Ibrahim. So we'll see what happens there. Listen, he's going to play, and he is good. And this Illinois team is really good. They're giving up like 1.6 yards per carry the last 5 games. That's it. Think about that.
That's unbelievable.
Every time an opposing running back gets the ball, they're averaging under 2 yards a carry. That is why this defense, and not just why, there are other reasons, and obviously that secondary is a big part of it, and the linebackers, but that defensive line has been unbelievable, and P.J. Fleck's going to talk about how physical this team is. But while we're on the running backs, he was asked today about the nation's leading rusher, Chase Brown.
Chase Brown, I think, is one of the best backs in the country, period. I think it's well documented. He has been for a long time. Does a really good job. He's got a very similar style with Muhammad, with breaking tackles, getting a lot of yards after contact. He's a very patient runner. He'll stay behind his offensive line for a while and then pop out the other side. He's incredible. He can finish too now. One thing that separates him from a lot of people is he can break tackles, and then when he gets in the open field, he can end it too. And I think that's where a lot of his yards have come to. He's been able to break some tackles, get in the open, and finish it for touchdowns. But he's got great vision. He's really one of the best backs in the country.
Yeah, maybe the best. Maybe the best.
It's awesome to say that, isn't it?
Yeah, I had asked Jay Lehman about Chase yesterday, and Jay was like, they're really trying to get him involved in the passing game. And let's be honest, Kyle, that's one thing that could help Art Sitkowski if he does get the start, is having a guy like Chase Brown to dump the ball to. That would be huge.
Yeah, and I don't think Josh McCray is probably going to play until after the bye week, but I thought Reggie Love played pretty well
I did too.
In that game. So, I mean, just commit to the run game. If you're not confident in Art Sitkowski, which he's going to have to make some throws in the game. You're not going to be able to live with the Penn State game last year where you threw for 38 yards and found a way to win that game. But if you can really commit to the run and not run Chase Brown 45 times, get Reggie Love involved, I think you still have enough there with the way the defense is playing to win another ugly one maybe.
You're so young, but one day you'll have just a plethora of stories and thoughts as to when someone asks you or someone brings up a certain game. It will pop in your head of, oh, yeah, so you just brought up the Penn State game, right? And I'll never forget last year Andrew had basketball practice, and I had to get him from basketball practice. So I thought, well, I've got to run a quick errand, and I'm going to miss the end of the game anyway because just the timing of him getting out of basketball practice, and believe me, I had some words for Coach, all positive, but I, subtly let him know that, we missed one of the biggest wins in Illinois in the last decade, and he laughed. But it was one of those situations where I sat in the school parking lot and listened to all 9 overtimes of that game. I didn't even run my errand. I just sat there and listened. And I'm like, well, if this game ends now, I'll still have time to run the errand and come back and pick him up. But
next thing you knew, the sun was down and the game wasn't over yet.
It's like, wait a minute, it's like bedtime. And this game is still going, so it was great to listen to Brian Barnhart and those guys, the crew, Martin O'Donnell, and those call the winning touchdown and such for Illinois. But it was just funny. It's like, wait a minute, I want to be watching this. But I was stuck there, and I reminded Andrew that he affected me seeing one of the biggest games in the last decade. All right, I always enjoy listening to an opposing coach say good things about my team. I know they always do, but in the past, a lot of times a coach is really fishing for little things to say about your team because you're just not that good. I truly believe that Illinois is good enough that what coaches say, they mean. And P.J. Fleck today was asked about not only Coach Bielema, but just this Illinois team in general.
They do what they do extremely well, incredibly physical. They're all on the same page. They want to put the ball down and run the football, play action pass, naked. They want to just beat you up. And they've done that to a lot of people this year. They're a really good football team. They got a ton of experience on that team. A lot of guys who played a ton of football, really good athletes. They do what they do very well. He's done a really good job of coming in and instilling his mentality into that program. I think it shows. Got a lot of respect for him. Obviously he's one of the best college coaches maybe of all time. And you can start to see that blueprint starting to take shape over there at Illinois. And got a lot of respect for what they do and who they are, especially him as a person and as a coach.
Okay, now I think Brett Bielema's got some work to do to be one of the best coaches all time, college coaches all time.
I would say so.
But I appreciate PJ saying that. And listen, he's not. Brett's not right now. He could be. And if he gets this program to the standard of a Wisconsin, then you can go ahead and put the statue up and call Brett Bielema one of the best coaches, college coaches of all time. But certainly PJ's right. I mean, this is a physical team. They do what they do. And he's got a really good soundbite coming up about Illinois' defense. And I want you to listen to this when we play it because he kind of describes how Illinois' defense is kind of generic. But in a way, you'll have to hear how he's really complimenting this team. But, to the point of what he's saying about physicality, Kyle, I know you haven't seen a lot of Illinois football.
Right.
But this is a team that absolutely is showing what Brett Bielema wants to be. be really gritty on that offensive line, on that defensive line, run the football. He obviously wants to throw the ball, and he said that from the get-go. And Tommy DeVito has been a guy that has really, I think, allowed them to do what they do because of his skill this season. But physicality wins in the Big Ten West, and I think we're seeing it right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I just found it amazing how defensively in that game against Iowa, Isaiah Williams fumbles on back-to-back possessions, the muffed punt, and then the one that landed inside the 5. And that defense just went back out there both times. Iowa, 7 plays, negative 10 yards on those 2 drives. I mean, they just go out there and battle at any part of the field. It's been truly incredible to watch. And, yeah, I mean, you just have trust. I know my dad was saying, like, and he's obviously been an Illinois fan longer than me, alum class 89. And he's like, this is the first time in forever that I truly trust this defense to get a stop every time out there. I mean, I have full trust in this defense every time they step on the field.
Let's hear P.J. Fleck talk about that defense, Illinois defense.
Well, first of all, they're incredibly aggressive. They've got probably the best front 7. I keep saying that, but that's good. We're playing better front 7s every week. They've got 3 guys inside the way they play their odd fronts. They've got 3 guys that are all 300 pounds. They're all strong. They do a great job of violently disengaging at the point of contact, being in their gap, and then getting you out of the gap so they can go make the play. Probably one of the best defensive lines I've seen at being able to dominate your gap, get rid of the offensive lineman, make the play in the hole. That's incredible skill right there. And you can tell it's coached, and they do a really good job of having really good players and then getting them to do what they want people to do. Same with the linebackers in the secondary. They're going to challenge you. They're going to get up in your face, play a man coverage. They really make cover 1 and cover 2 look exactly the same until the ball snapped, which, again, presents a lot of challenges. They do a really good job at being who they are. They know this, and they don't have a lot of coverages. It's either this or this, but they all look the same until that ball snapped, which present a lot of different challenges. There's a big difference between cover 2 and cover 1. Big difference. And they've done a really good job of disguising all of that. And they're well coached. Very disciplined team, very aggressive. They all tackle well. Very impressive.
That's funny when he mentioned, well, first of all, I think that's pretty cool. When he talks about coverage 1, coverage 2, I need to ask Jay Lehman to go a little bit more into layman's terms about that. But the idea that they hide that until the snap, and a lot of that is the, pre-snap, what they're doing. Sidney Brown coming up to the line of scrimmage, going back. Are they bringing a safety in to blitz? Is the outside linebacker going to blitz, or are they going to stay back with the tight end? There's a lot of different things in that secondary, especially with coverage, that kind of shows you the cover 1 or the cover 2. But I think it's interesting to hear that. And the idea, and I'm guessing, when you hear that Illinois has maybe the best defense in the country, they have the number 1 scoring defense in the country.
They do.
You would think that, like Madden, they have all these plays, right? I mean, when you play Madden, you're like, ooh, let's go with this wolf dog blitz or whatever the heck that is. And, you're sitting there and you're like, what else can I play? There's like 40 different calls. I mean, there's different, obviously, scenarios within each situation, whether they're in a coverage 1 or a coverage 2. But it's funny to know that an opposing coach looks at it and says, look, they don't have a lot of different stuff, but they don't show you what they're doing. And then when they do, they're just really good at it.
I mean, Ryan Walters, the job he's done here.
It's incredible.
Unbelievable. I desperately hope that he sticks around, but
I don't know. That could be tricky, right?
It might be tough. He's made himself a lot of money this past year and a half for sure. But, yeah, I mean, I think it speaks a lot to just the development of these players, too. I mean, these are a lot of the same guys, especially in the secondary. And I know Newton and Randolph and some of the guys on the line. Calvin Avery's had a big year this year. I just think these guys have developed so much that you're able to do a lot of different things, and especially with the way Illinois likes to play man a lot. I mean, these corners –
which would be coverage 1.
Right, doing an unbelievable job and have developed so much. I mean, Devin Witherspoon is one of my favorite players to watch because there's no separation when Devin Witherspoon's on. He's just a lockdown guy, and he can hit you hard. He can, the corners and the safeties can help. I don't even know where I'm going with this.
Well, no. I mean, but the proof of that was what Jay Lehman said yesterday, the first play of the game. They tested Witherspoon, and he absolutely laid a hit, and then they said, let's don't ever go against him again. I mean,
I know.
And when you have guys like that can man cover you and on an island, then obviously then you can put more in the in the middle of the field and really stack up against the run, which Illinois kind of goes to what we were saying earlier about what they're giving up per carry the last 5 games, under 2 yards. In fact, it's, I think, 1.6.
Yep.
That's what's the amazing thing about that.
54 total rushing yards against Wisconsin and Iowa.
I mean, that's unbelievable.
Imagine saying that.
It's funny that your dad graduated in 89, and that's the first time since 89 Illinois has defeated Wisconsin and Iowa in the same season. So kind of funny. Did he have a good time here? Did your family have a good time?
Yeah, we loved it. I mean, I know they announced the attendance at 44,000.
You're stinking lucky, man. Like your freshman year, you're coming into this.
Absolutely, yeah. And I know they announced the attendance at 44,000. It didn't feel like that in the stadium.
Yeah.
It was an awesome environment. And I know the student section was packed. I wasn't in the student section this week. I was sitting with my family on the west side, but it was just a phenomenal environment. I thought it was funny. I think the most exciting moment of the game, the loudest the stadium got, was when the ref turned on his mic and said, after review, the runner was down, his elbow was down.
Oh, there's no doubt. That was the biggest
I know. But yeah, it was an awesome weekend.
That is cool. Yeah, 44.9, I believe. 44,900. So a tick under 45. And then, of course, FightingIllini.com. Go there. You can buy tickets for $24 to hopefully eclipse that 50,000, maybe even make it a sellout for homecoming. I love on the U of I Illini Lake text line at 359-2255. Those that played football helping me out here, but a 217 said cover 1 is man, cover 2 zone. So there you go. Easiest way to explain that. And obviously that's where Illinois does a good job of kind of up until the snap not really showing what they are in, whether it be man or zone. A 630 said, hey, I heard that train. So I think a lot of times we say boiler up and nobody knows what we're talking about because they can't actually hear the train that rolls through here in Philo, Illinois. 217, Lon, we went from just wanting a bowl game to now being disappointed if we don't win the West, all within a 6-game span. That is so true.
It is.
And I'm not apologizing for being very selfish right now.
I just think the opportunity
Get me to Indianapolis, right?
The West is just so wide open.
It is.
I think Illinois has the best team in the West this year.
Isn't
so
it funny,
it just
too?
feels like this is a chance.
Yeah, isn't it funny, too? And I apologize for the interruption there. Isn't it funny that, and maybe rightfully so, maybe it's true what I'm about ready to say, but now the year that Illinois is like really good and dominating Wisconsin and holding off Iowa and a chance against Minnesota and obviously Purdue and others, but now all of a sudden the West isn't that strong. You know what I'm saying? And whatever the case. Maybe at the end of the year when Illinois runs the table, they can say all they want about the West not being very good, but I know the one team that is good, and that's the Fighting Illini, that hopefully will be sitting up top, taking that West title and going to Indianapolis to face either Ohio State or, I guess, Penn State or
maybe
Michigan in that game, but I don't know that anybody's beaten Ohio State. And I mean anybody.
I don't think so. I think at this point, the West Division race is the race to see who loses by 30 in Indianapolis.
And that's usually what it is. I
just think you have to accept that.
Right. That's normally what happens. All right. I want to tell you that segment, doing a lot of Illinois, Minnesota chatter. Of course, heard a lot from P.J. Fleck. Listen, say what you want about P.J. Fleck. He's an interesting cat. There's no doubt he's hyper. But I think he's fun to listen to, and I think he gives some good stuff, and he was very obviously very poignant about how good this Illinois football team is. But that segment was brought to you by Game Day Spirit. Kyle's got his Game Day Spirit Illini hat on, mesh.
That's right.
Is what it is, not fishnet on the back. It's a solid blue bill and front with a orange block eye and the white mesh. It looks really nice. Anything on the back? Like if you flip, are you one of those hat backward kind of guys?
I am not.
I'm not either.
Yeah.
I like to do it, but I don't think I look very good. Some dudes can wear that, man, and I'm always like, I don't like that guy.
Yeah, there's a lot of younger people that like to do it, but
even older guys.
Yeah, some.
Some. Okay, that's probably a good way to put that. But yeah, let's check them out, man. GameDaySpirit.com. They got everything you need. I wore my orange pullover, my orange hoodie to the game on Saturday because it was orange out, and it just happened to be perfect with the weather. So make sure you've got a repertoire of orange and blue, and you know where to get it. GameDaySpirit.com. You can find them on Green Street. You can find them on Neal Street. So there you go. I always say the older people go to Neal, right? And then you younger kids go to Green because you get down on campus. But both places, man. And if they don't have it at Green, they'll find it at Neal. If they don't have it at Neal, they'll find it at Green. They are wonderful to work with. So give them a shout, GameDaySpirit.com. When we come back, it was Big Ten Media Day, basketball in Minneapolis. Brad Underwood took the podium for about 5 minutes. You're going to hear all of it when we return. It is The Drive.
If you're looking for a great farm-to-table restaurant with a great menu with incredible food, it's the Homegrown Restaurant at the Atkins Golf Club at the University of Illinois. Fresh farm-to-table food that will delight the entire family. And Homegrown is changing their menu with some great fall dishes. And starting now, Homegrown will offer specials every day that are $15 or less. Ryan and Abby Rogers invite you to the Homegrown Restaurant, 2600 South Stone Creek Road in Urbana, or visit them online, eat@homegrown.com.
When you're buying a battery, it's important to look beyond just the price and make sure you're buying a quality battery. So when you're buying one from the big box store, make sure you ask the question, what's the date on this battery? Is it dependable? Sometimes the big box stores have batteries that have been sitting on the shelf for years. Or you can just come to Interstate Batteries, outrageously dependable, and buy your battery from the people who only do batteries. Interstate Batteries at 2504 North Madison, Champaign. Way out there, but totally worth the drive. How much is dependable worth to you? Interstate Batteries open 6 days a week.
Urbana Indoor Aquatic Center is open for public swimming. Lap swim Monday through Friday from 6 to 8 a.m. and 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Public swim Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 p.m. and Saturday, noon to 5 p.m. Memberships and punch cards available. Also, a great place to rent for parties. Swim this fall at Urbana Indoor Aquatic Center. For more information, visit urbanaparks.org. Urbana Park District. You belong here.
Hey, it's Stevie J. I've got a Stever offer for you today from Kelsey Furniture. Kelsey Furniture is in Tuscola, and they sell Tempur-Pedic beds. These are amazing, one of the top-rated mattresses ever. But don't listen to me. Listen to my friend Steve about Tempur-Pedic and what's it like.
I'm going to tell you right now, Stevie, that thing is the best thing I've ever slept on in my life. My wife and I both have said we've never had better night's sleep. And the people at Kelsey's were fantastic. Brian is the guy that helped us. You know, as much as I did my research, he had a world of knowledge about beds themselves. Oh, man, it's like sleeping on a cloud, man.
If you text me 217-359-2255, text in bed right now, and you have a chance to get $1,000 toward your Tempur-Pedic bed. They start at $3,000, but it's the last bed you'll ever buy. 217-359-2255. If you're interested, text in bed from Kelsey Furniture right now.
Hi, this is Steve from Good Vibes, and I'm here with Luke Goody. He's got some pretty goody vibes himself.
Well, Steve, when your name is Goody, you want to live up to it.
Let's see. In high school, you scored 1,480 points, snagged 600 rebounds, and nearly 300 assists in 100 games. That's pretty dang good, E.
It's different at the college level. They're all pretty dang good. That's why I work so hard at it.
Hey, your competition is Division I. Our competition is Amazon and Best Buy. No question, competition makes you better, and so does practice and hard work.
I always want to get better. That's how you win.
And we want to sell better stuff like LG OLED TVs. That's a win-win. Better processing, better panels, accurate color, make shows and sports look better.
Oh, so the orange and blue will look just like you're at the game.
Yeah. You know where I can get some tickets?
In an ever-changing real estate market, it's important to work with experienced agents. Russ and Nick Taylor with the Taylor teams at RE/MAX Realty Associates have the knowledge and expertise to get your home sold for the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time. Trust the experience and success of Russ and Nick Taylor with the Taylor team at RE/MAX. Give them a call today at 217-355-0700 or visit them online at taylorboys.com. That's taylorboys.com.
Join the team at Stevie J Broadcasting after 4 p.m. on Friday, October 14th, as we prepare for a great homecoming at Pia's Sports Bar and Grill. Enjoy Coors Light and Twisted Tea drink specials, along with loaded hot dogs for $3. Meet alumni and athletes coming to town to celebrate in Illini Nation as we wear our orange and blue. The homecoming parade is on Friday, October 14th, with a sky show as its finale near Memorial Stadium. A big game against Minnesota is at 11 a.m. October 15th. Go Illini!
Illinois football is back. Shop at Game Day Spirit this fall and gear up to support your Fighting Illini football team. With great football designs and brand new apparel from top brands, they're the one-stop shop to get everything you need this football season. Shop with them at the corner of Neal and Kirby in Champaign, 6th and Green in Campustown, and online 24/7 at GameDaySpirit.com. Game Day Spirit, where Illini fans shop.
Hi, it's Stevie J. Start your day with me along with Diane Ducey, weekday mornings 7 to 9, here on ESPN Radio 93.5.
All right, Kyle, you're too young for this, but how old do you have to be to bet?
I think it's 21 in Illinois.
You're too old for this, or you're too young for this. But I'm not. And last night I went heavy on the Kansas City Chiefs, and thankfully, Kansas City Chiefs got it done.
They're about 1 inch from not getting it done on that 2-point conversion.
And I'm glad that I was asleep.
For some reason, the Raiders went for it. I mean, I don't know where I stand on that decision.
Yeah.
I understand the logic of, hey, we don't trust ourselves against Patrick Mahomes in overtime.
No, I agree.
But
well, at least now you know that it helped me win a bet.
Yeah.
On BetUS. So if you go to betus.com and sign up, and you're going to get free money because you're going to use promo code 935 at betus.com, and they are then going to give you a sign-up bonus of 125%. I mean, essentially, you spend $100, they're going to give you $100. Free money for you to then bet. Why would you not do that? BetUS.com. If you want to call them, 800-79-BET-US. And again, use promo code 935. They've been around since 94. They know what they're doing. BetUS.com. All right, it is Lante, Kyle Tosk, Derek Piper on his way back from Media Day in Minneapolis. We're going to hear from him, we think, at 5:30. And I say we think because we don't know quite the travel itinerary. I assume they're in the air now. They'll be landing halfway soon, and he's going to text me and let me know if it is doable. If not, you and I will round out the show at 5:05. Mike Carpenter, my former co-host with Tay and Carp. Mike is going to join us. I know he is chomping at the bit to talk some Illinois against Minnesota and also the victory over not only Wisconsin but also Iowa this past week. But we're going to consider now basketball. It was Big Ten Basketball Media Day in Minneapolis, and our guy, Brad Underwood, took the podium for about 5 minutes, had some good things to say, gave a little bit of a comment about how special it is to be in Minneapolis. Of course he's going to say that. And then he took some Q&A. Here's Brad Underwood.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be in Minneapolis. We're excited about another great year of Big Ten basketball. It's something that I take a great deal of pride in being a part of this conference that has been the best basketball league in the country the last few years in particular. And esteemed coaches, great players. Last year was a record year with guys moving on, going to the draft. And I think it speaks volumes to the quality of teams with 9 teams in the tournament. And it's something I'm extremely proud of. Being at the University of Illinois, finding ways to continue to beat these guys is fun. We've got our hands full this year with the new team coming off a Big Ten championship. We're excited about that, and we look forward to the challenges that are presented and great non-conference schedule, but obviously the best league in the country and great venues, and very, very proud to be a part of this Big Ten conference.
Questions for Coach Underwood. Coach on your right.
Hey, Coach Myron Metcalf,
ESPN. Between name, image, and likeness and the transfer portal, what do you think will have the greatest long-term impact on college basketball?
Oh, I think the transfer portal. I think the portals, we'll see how all of that plays out in time. I think name, image, likeness is here. It's impactful. I'm a big fan of it. I think it's something that has been long overdue. But we'll see how that plays out, if that's sustainable for any period of time. But I do think the portal is here, and you're going to see years that you may have to replace 7, 8, 9 different guys. So I think the portal will be a very, very impactful issue for us moving forward.
Brian Teague, CSO of Sports. Coach, you've had the luxury of having many veteran lead guards in your programs. Could you talk to us about your thoughts on turning the program over to a freshman guard?
Yeah, it's different. Trev Frazier and DeMonte Williams last year could run my practice. And his fifth-year guys, and had so much respect for those guys. Now it's different. And that leadership is going to come from different areas. I love our freshmen. I'm excited about what they bring. We've got 4 that I think can all help and contribute. We'll see how that manifests itself over time, but they'll need some help, and there's going to be some adversity, and there's going to be some speed bumps, and we accept that. That's part of growth, and yet they're pretty tough-minded individuals, and they're going to have to learn on the fly.
Coach, Abby Schnabel, Wisconsin State Journal. How important do you think it is for teams to have a dominant big in this league, especially as we move towards this age of positionless basketball? Well,
I woke up every night last year knowing I had 20 and 10, and that was a pretty good feeling. And obviously Kofi is unique. I think that there's a lot of ways to win. I think there's things that caused us problems playing Kofi. I think you got to play against it. I thought Iowa last year, as an example, was as good a team as there was at the end of the season, and they were playing very, very small, and they gave us problems. So I think it's a two-way street. I think that obviously we've seen the next level. We've seen the game change at the NBA level, but I think it can be very beneficial. They have to be good players. You just can't throw a lot of size out there that can't play. But I also look at it, and we don't have that this year. They got to come guard us on the other end as well.
Susie, right in front of you. On your left side, Coach. Yep.
Hey, Brad. John Fanta from Fox Sports. You just said you woke up every night knowing you had 20 and 10. What are you waking up every night now thinking with your team? And do you feel like you're waking up thinking, I've got different options that I can execute with?
Yeah, I've got a lot of different options. I don't know what those are yet. And I think until we play some of that out, until we get to scrimmages and exhibition games, figure that out. I love our personnel. I think we're as talented as we have been. It just looks different, and we've got positionless size. I think that's one of the things that I enjoy. It's about taking advantage of mismatches, and we've got guys who can break you down off the dribble. We've got I think we could be a very good shooting team. So we'll have to figure all that out. But instead of just lining up, throwing the ball to Kofi, there'll have to be some different options.
There you go. That is Brad Underwood, Illinois basketball coach, as he took the podium today to visit with not only just give an opening statement, but also to visit with some of the national writers that were there, writers covering other teams. He also did a longer segment, 25 minutes, with more of the local media, including Derek Piper, who was there. So we'll hear more of that as we go along this week. Coleman Hawkins, Terrence Shanna Jr. also there as well. They took a lot of questions from the local media. I know that the local TV stations will have that on tonight. Illini Inquirer, of course, and that crew, all of those guys, Orange and Blue, etc. They'll have all that stuff that you need in terms of the sound bites from today. Derek Piper has landed, by the way. Texted me and said, I am here. And I can join you at 5:30. So we'll hear from Pipes at 5:30 today and get his take on what happened, what materialized up in Minneapolis. Let me ask you this, Kyle. I mean, you are in such a unique situation for a freshman at Illinois. Normally by now, the focus has turned to basketball.
I know.
And this year, that is not the case. And a guy like me who literally went to a tailgate at 7 a.m. with the idea, I was dreading almost all week the idea of having to be there from 7 a.m. and the game doesn't even start for 11 and a half hours. And I'm like, what in the world am I going to do to get myself to that point where I am ready to roll and have energy for that? Now you've got the idea that this is a football team that is captivating your interest as we gear up for what should be a really good basketball year in a program that has normally dominated when it comes to who's better, football or basketball. What is it like for you as a freshman to kind of take all that in?
It's awesome. I mean, don't get me wrong. I am extremely excited to get in the State Farm Center this year. Basketball's always been my favorite sport to watch. So I have absolutely loved watching this football team, but I'm always willing to talk some basketball and look forward to that. But yeah, I mean, it's nice for a change to really not have to look ahead on September 20th to say, all right, let's get this basketball opener going. And there's just been some really good football. So, I mean, I just, for me personally, as a huge basketball guy, I more so see it as an added bonus in terms of, hey, football actually interesting this year. I still am really excited for basketball as usual.
Kind of cool that you're new to the campus. So are so many of these basketball players. Terrence Shannon Jr., Matthew Meyer, Sky Clark, Jaden Epps.
I have a class with Ty Rogers and Sky Clark.
Rogers. Is Ty Rogers just huge?
He's absolutely huge. Yeah,
just like wide, monster-wise.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. Are you kind of befriending them, telling them, getting some tidbits for the drive with Tay and Piper?
I should. You should give me some things to ask them. They're kind of quiet guys in the classroom, though, as you would expect, And
I bet they're there every time. Of course, are you there every time?
I am.
Okay. All right. I just want to make sure. Your parents might be listening, so you better.
Yeah, they probably are. So. Is that the truthful answer or not? We won't know.
Right. Yeah. His nose is not growing, but I honestly don't think that ever happens. No, actually, your nose never stops growing. Did you know that?
I didn't.
Your entire life, your nose never stops growing. So there you go. That's something to look forward to as you get into old age. All right, good stuff there, hearing from PJ Fleck and also Brad Underwood. Again, more on Big Ten Basketball Media Day with Derek Piper, bottom of the hour. Next hour, when we come back, Mike Carpenter, who used to co-host the show before Derek Piper. I guess I couldn't land Jeremy Warner today, or I would have had all three of them on. But no, I'm kidding. I didn't try. But I know Warner was up in Minneapolis with Pipes. But we'll hear from Mike Carpenter next. Get his thoughts on this Illinois football start. Also some basketball chatter as well. We'll do it all next. It is The Drive.
If you want a steak, I mean a steak, prepared the way you want it, you've got to go to Long Branch Steakhouse. Hi, it's Jay Lehman. It's been over a year since I was introduced to Donnie at the Long Branch Steakhouse in Gifford. And when I want a great steak, that's where I go. And the sides, the Brussels sprouts, the mac and cheese, and the salad with Donnie's secret frog dressing. Long Branch Steakhouse in downtown Gifford. Open Wednesday through Saturday from 5 to 9 p.m. There's always room for the Long Branch Steakhouse.
Like most banks, we offer an app that lets you do pretty much everything you need from your pocket. But at Iroquois Federal, we believe great banking is less about the app you tap and more about what you tap into. And for us, that's a hometown bank where decisions are made locally by the same folks you'll bump into on the bleachers at the next big game, providing the hometown touch that's made us part of the community for nearly 140 years. Iroquois Federal. Still friendly, still local, still here. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Carl works every day to improve the health of community members across the region, and it would not be possible without team members like Dwayne Linton, a nationally certified nurse in the emergency department at Carl Foundation Hospital.
I work with a team of people who really care about what they do and are very flexible and adaptive in rapidly changing critical situations, and I would trust any of them at any time.
If you're looking for an opportunity to serve your community like Dwayne in a supportive environment, visit carl.org/careers.
Hi, y'all. Welcome back to Trucker Lives Matter, presented by Gail Fredericks Trucking. Today we have a special guest, Donna, the operations manager at GFT. Hi, Donna.
Hi, Dixie. Thank you for having me.
Tell me, Donna, what's so special about driving for GFT?
First and foremost, our drivers truly matter. They get top pay plus opportunities for monthly bonuses, every weekend at home, paid holidays and vacations, and they are pre-dispatched so they aren't wasting time waiting on us.
Oh, girl, I love money. Tell me more about the pay.
We pay on percentage, so our rate increases have meant our driver pay has actually exceeded inflation. Our van drivers have averaged 78 cents per mile this year, and our flatbedders have seen 82 to 85 cents per mile on average.
Donna, tell our trucking audience how they can get on with GFT.
Our openings are limited, but professional drivers can call 765-793-7131 or email dixie@gftlog.com.
There you have it, drivers. Call 765-793-7131 today.
In an ever-changing real estate market, it's important to work with experienced agents. Russ and Nick Taylor with the Taylor teams at RE/MAX Realty Associates have the knowledge and expertise to get your home sold for the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time. Trust the experience and success of Russ and Nick Taylor with the Taylor team at RE/MAX. Give them a call today at 217-355-0700 or visit them online at taylorboys.com. That's taylorboys.com.
You're listening to WSJK ESPN 93.5 Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana, your home for the St. Louis Cardinals.
The leader of Ukraine as Russia steps up its attacks.
President Biden and other G7 leaders met virtually with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky amid new missile strikes launched by Russia. A statement from the G7 says the group will continue to provide financial, humanitarian, military, diplomatic, and legal support to Ukraine. Any just peace, the statement says, must respect the UN Charter's protection of territorial integrity, safeguard Ukraine's ability to defend itself, and ensure Ukraine's recovery and reconstruction, including potentially with funds from Russia and accountability for Russian crimes committed during the war. At the White House, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
Russia claims it launched the attacks in retaliation for a weekend explosion that damaged a bridge between Russia and the Crimean Peninsula, which Moscow annexed in 2014. Get a COVID booster by Halloween to have the best protection over the holidays. That advice from White House COVID coordinator Dr. Ashish Jha, who says they're monitoring new COVID variants closely.
What happens in the weeks and months ahead will have a large impact on how the winter goes. And really what happens in this winter is largely up to us as the American people.
The CDC says only about 11.5 million Americans have gotten the newest COVID booster. Jha also criticized Congress, which refused the White House's $22 billion request for virus response, saying that's kept the U.S. from building a stockpile of tests to use in the event of a new winter surge. The Justice Department has asked the Supreme Court to reject former President Trump's bid to again empower an independent arbiter to go through classified records taken from Trump's Florida home. On Wall Street, the Dow added 36, the Nasdaq lost 115. America is listening to Fox News.
Every search you make, every click you take, they'll be watching you.
Are you tired of being tracked online? There's a simple solution. DuckDuckGo. It's an all-in-one privacy app with a built-in private search engine, web browser, one-click data clearing, email protection, and more, all for free. Download the app today and get the most comprehensive privacy protection with the push of a button. DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
The roar of our engines, the pump of our heartbeats, the pedal to our metal, the sparks that ignite us, the pistons that push us, the passions that drive us. From the feelings that move us to the places that pull us on the roads that unite us. With nearly 6,000 stores and over 17,000 auto care centers, Napa has America's largest network of parts and care, here to keep you firing on all cylinders.
Allentown, Pennsylvania officials are investigating a carbon monoxide leak at a daycare that sent dozens of kids to hospitals.
Allentown Mayor Matt Turk says all of the children have been stabilized. The initial call was for an unconscious child. Once unsafe air readings were taken,
they did triage in the parking lot, immediately called in partners from neighboring communities to make sure that
We got everybody to hospitals.
The Happy Smiles Learning Center, Mayor Turk says, is now closed.
There's a number of permits or a number of inspections that they're going to have to pass prior to reopening.
He urged parents to check their kids' daycares to ensure they have hazard detectors and they're all in working order. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
Comedians Eric Andre and Clayton English are filing suit over a program at Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson Airport they say violates the constitutional rights of airline passengers, especially black passengers, through what they say is racial profiling. Lawyers for the men claim the comedians were profiled and stopped by Clayton County Police, saying they were singled out by officers during separate stops about 6 months apart because they're black and grilled about drugs. A date has been set for the coronation of King Charles III.
The ceremony for the coronation of King Charles III is set for May 6th next year. An official statement from Buckingham Palace says it will take place at Westminster Abbey in London, where it has been done for the last 900 years. The coronation will be conducted by the Archbishop of Canterbury. The ceremony usually happens several months after a king or queen takes the throne to allow for a period of royal mourning, as well as time to organize and prepare the coronation. Buckingham Palace says the crowning of Camilla, Queen Consort, will also happen during the ceremony.
Fox's Tanya J. Powers. I'm Lisa Lacera. This is Fox News.
Hello again, everyone. Let's check weather for East Central Illinois, Champaign, and Van Vicinity, and a change in that weather is getting underway. Still another couple of days worth of mild weather, but wetter weather, and that certainly is welcome with dryness and drought in mind, but probably leading to some harvest delays. Clouds on the increase, thickening and lowering, not as mild today, up around 70. Some shower activity breaking out this morning and again this afternoon. Gusty south-southwesterly wind as the day wears on. Showers around this evening and again after midnight. Maybe a rumble of thunder, mild for the night, lows near 60. Tomorrow, windy, turning cooler, variably cloudy skies. Occasional showers, maybe a thunderstorm around both morning and afternoon. Highs to about 68 and falling as winds shift around into the southwest and west. Breezy, much cooler tomorrow night. We'll bottom out at 43 and a windy and much cooler for the day on Thursday. Mostly sunny, though, up to 57, 55 on Friday. For football weekend time, homecoming up to 66 for that ball game with partly cloudy skies, dry weather, a couple of showers Sunday at 59. By early to mid next week, high temperatures just in the 40s. For CVJ Broadcasting, I'm meteorologist Greg Solier.
Ignition sequence start. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Liftoff.
Check.
I literally just create madness.
Well, they're up.
I'm going to go off here.
They don't have a great quarterback.
I got to take a break. I'm getting in trouble.
To win the Big Ten, you first got to win the West.
Bad Bunny. Have you heard his name in a while?
No.
Has it bothered you?
No. Defensively, they got to come in with some confidence.
Is that even analytics?
I'm in a parking garage. I'm kind of lost.
Terrence Shannon, Matthew Meyer, R.J. Melendez, Coleman Hawkins.
He's throwing the presentations over. I didn't come here to go 5 and 7.
I'm so proud of Illinois football right now.
I'm so tired of Joel Embiid.
We're not taking Patrick Corbin.
I want to bet the Bears.
Oh.
You are Reba McEntire's niece.
Roshan Russell.
Coach Bielma.
You no longer salute to yourself.
What? We got all kinds of things for you here.
There's a lot of glass.
Oh.
Guys, we have breaking news.
Uh-oh.
It's The Drive.
Smack Dogs.
Okay,
here we go.
It is The Drive. Good evening. The Drive with Tay and Piper. Derek Piper has landed. The Eagle has landed. He will join us at 5:30, give us his idea of what all went on today at Big Ten Media Day, Big Ten Basketball Media Day, that is, in Minneapolis. So we'll talk to Pipes coming up bottom of the hour. Pipes has nothing to watch tonight because his favorite baseball team, you notice how I'm saying his, was knocked out by the Philadelphia Phillies in 2 games. So we got nothing to watch tonight. By the way, the Phillies over Atlanta 7-6. Seattle right now leads Houston. I'm sorry if you're DVRing this, if you're the one person like me that does that. Shut off your radio. But Seattle leading Houston 6-3. That game is in the top of the 7th. Tonight, there's a big game that this next guest on the Dick Van Dyke Appliance World phone line is going to be dialed into as the New York Yankees open their series against the Cleveland Guardians. Carp, are you excited about the Yankees right now?
It's Illinois football season, man. I don't really care about the Yankees at this point.
I got a football team that's 5-1. No, I mean, yes, I will have the game on. But isn't it weird to be in a position when there's playoff baseball and there's Big Ten basketball media days, and yet our focus, our attention, the thing that we think about, I'm sure you're in the same boat as I am.
All of it.
Planning the tailgate, getting ready for the weekend, homecoming, 5-1. I mean, this is a rare spot to be in, and maybe that's what makes it that much more easy to relish. Relative to playoff baseball, which we're used to. We're fortunate with our teams. And then Illinois basketball media days, which was usually the distraction at this point.
You're still doing the 200 level. You're still doing a lot of things. You came home after the game against Iowa, and you did about a minute or two where you essentially just said, hey, my voice is not kind of like mine right now. I need your carp honey. But you're like, you know what? That didn't sound right, did it? But Carp used to always drink honey because he had to go sing that night.
There you go.
So, but you did about 2 minutes where you're like, you're basically saying, yeah, exactly. You're basically saying, hey, I'll join you tomorrow morning. My voice is shot, but how about that win against Iowa? I mean, take me back to the Wisconsin game, going into Wisconsin. Number one, I think you, like a lot of us, thought Illinois could get it done against the Badgers, but in the fashion that they got it done, how much did that surprise you?
The fashion in which it happened surprised me for sure. I spent that entire week trying to talk myself out of it, trying to say, well, we haven't played anybody yet, and then thinking, well, you can't really use the Ohio State game as a measuring stick for Wisconsin because Ohio State's just that good. But then the week went on, and I couldn't shake the feeling that they were going to win. I woke up that morning, and maybe because it was an 11 a.m. game, I didn't even have time to get nervous about it. It just started. And, yeah, when we went down 7-0, there was that, oh, God, Graham Mertz is going to go Heisman on us again. But then things equalized. We immediately answered. Then we went up 10-7. And then you're up, was it 14? I forget what the halftime score was. I think 14-10. And to me, that game was over when you converted the 4th and 4 to Isaiah Williams in the opening drive of the third quarter. And that sounds premature. But for some reason, that play alone told me everything I needed to know, that we were just going to execute those little plays, not so little, but, 4th and 4, not some sort of 3rd and 15. We were going to do the things that winning teams do. And I have never had this sort of quiet confidence in an Illini football team. I say never. The Sugar Bowl year, you had a senior Kurt Kittner. There were some expectations going into that year.
Right.
The Rose Bowl year, as good as that 9-3 team was, they still had some Zookian moments. And this team, however, from the gun, has been the better team on the field all 6 weeks. And by the time we got to the Wisconsin game, I think they'll get it done. And then after they got it done like that, I'm at this place, Lon, where I anticipate that they're going to win most Saturdays that they go out there, which, maybe that's a dangerous mindset, but that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Isn't it funny how we don't allow ourselves? Like, we kind of allow ourselves, but we always come back with that little equalizer. Like, man, maybe that's dangerous. I mean, you're right, though. I mean, and you said it perfect right there. You have dominated all 6 games, including Indiana. And I understand the score didn't end up like we wanted it to, but you dominated time of possession. You dominated yardage. I mean, everything about that game screamed Illinois won that game. If I gave you every stat that I could give you that pertains to that game and then said to you, Mike, who won the game? You would be like, well, Illinois probably won that by 2 touchdowns easily. And yet Illinois doesn't do it. What does it say about Brett and this squad that I understand, had a nice bounce back against a Virginia team they absolutely dominated, but what does it say about this squad that they were able to kind of overcome that Indiana loss, which put it knocked me back, but yet
me too.
I'm used to it, right? I'm used to that knockback moment where I'm like, hold on. But what does it say about this team that they've not only overcome that, but they've now just persevered to the point where we only look at that as kind of a blip in the road and, maybe that costs us the college football playoff. I mean, what the heck? You still got a chance to win the West. What does it say about this squad?
Yeah, and that they've flourished since that game.
Good
right?
call.
They played even better and corrected most of those ills, though the turnover issue kind of reared its head again Saturday, but yet it somehow didn't matter. Yeah, the Indiana game, you said it knocked you back. It knocked me back big time, to the point where I grew bullheaded again and said, I'm not going into the stadium. I'm going to watch that game from the TV in Lot 31. I just was like, I've been fooled too many times.
Yep.
And what I was doing is I was still lumping in this team with past performances. And what I'm doing now, similar to what I did the 2020 Illini basketball season, is I'm just changing my mindset. These guys weren't even born when there was the fumble game against Michigan in 2000.
Right.
They don't care. These
Right.
things are completely irrelevant to them, right? So all this baggage that I carry has no bearing to what they're doing on the field. And Brett Bielema wasn't even he was maybe not even a D coordinator back when a lot of these disappointments happened. So
Yep.
it's almost like you have to train yourself as a fan that it's not always Murphy's Law. It's not, some sort of curse or hex on Illinois sports. And I think that actually speaks a lot to this staff and the competency that they have, where within a year and a half on the field, 18 games, I feel like I've been able to change my entire mindset as a fan, to the point where you could tell me Sikowski's starting and Josh McCray may or may not be back, and Isaiah Williams, a few other guys, Taz Nicholson, they aren't going to play, and I would say, I don't care. I think they're going to find a way. And I don't know if you're to that level as I am, but there's this, I don't know, maybe I'm just sort of like consciously saying, I'm not going to assume the worst anymore, and this team's giving me plenty of reasons to try that out.
I totally get it. And it makes sense what you're saying. I think it scares me a little bit only because of our depth, although the coaching has been able to overcome that, and the guys behind them, and even Art Sikowski, was he great Saturday? No. Would he have almost gone down in lore if he would have thrown the interception on the goal line and then the fumble that led to an Iowa win? I mean, imagine what we're saying about Art Sikowski in 10 years. I mean, it's just, thankfully that wasn't a fumble and his arm and his elbow was down. But it is amazing, and I'm with you. I've got a lot more confidence. I think it's the coaching, right? It's just the idea that starts with Brett Bielema and just like vines extends throughout this entire coaching staff. And you look at like what Kevin Kane and Andy Boo are doing with the linebackers. You look at what Terrence Jameson's doing with this defensive line, and then that backfield that Ryan Walters and Aaron Henry. Obviously Ryan Walters the head of the entire defense, and of course offensively you trust Barry Lunny. We're going to have to trust him this week. Touch base on the coaches first, then we'll get to the offense. That's probably where the reason lies, right? Not that it shouldn't with the players, and the players are proving it, but I think it's the idea that we understand that this coaching staff is getting these guys in position and has evaluated the right guys to be there, to be in position to win these games.
Yeah, and that's schematically, even when you lost some of these guys, I mean, losing DeVito was monstrous, no doubt. But
huge.
Take a look at the defense, and I want to say the kid's name is Jennings, the one that came in for Nicholson at cornerback, did a phenomenal job. You had all these other pieces like a Gabe Akis just emerge out of nowhere. And I know Tennessee was going after him too. They're number 6 in the nation or whatever now. So, it's the sneaky way in which they're accruing talent and developing them quicker than I anticipated. Last year looking at the roster and all that we were going to lose, I thought, man, 5-7 was a mild disappointment last year because it felt like, how are you going to overcome all these losses?
Yes.
Somehow you've done that. And then on top of that, any preseason prognostication I would have made about this defense, I was confident they would be like last year. I never would have predicted this. So you mentioned the coaches and the fact that, it's one thing to see natural progression from year 1 to year 2, but it's not often you see exponential progression. Mm-hmm. And then it also comes down to even staffing changes. Brett Bielema needs to be held accountable for hiring Tony Peterson in the first place. That cost you a bowl game in year 1. But you know what? That is very quickly forgotten if you win 8-9 games here in year 2 and you're playing in Florida on January 1st. And it's those things, it's the schematic things, but I think for me as well as a younger fan that does not remember the Mike White era but heard plenty about it.
Right.
I'm not saying Brett Bielema has that level of charisma or is that much of a salesman, but whatever he is saying, I'm buying into in a way that I haven't with any previous head coach. And fully buying in. So it's a testament to his ability as a coach, but not just that as the head of a program. And for so long, we've lacked a true face of Illini football, and it's refreshing to feel like you've got it.
Well said. Mike Carpenter, follow him on Twitter, @FanboyCarp. He needs one more follower to hit 3,000.
That's right. Yeah, I'm at 2999.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
didn't Miggy get his 3,000th hit this year? And now you
I think so.
have a chance to get your 3,000th follower @FanboyCarp. I'm literally watching it as we go. So I need some. Kyle, I think just followed you to make it 3,000. So there we go. The 3,000 has occurred, and I see it. That is awesome.
Oh, my God. What a day.
I want you to hear PJ Fleck. I know what we think of him, but I thought he was
he's fine.
Yeah, I thought he was really good today. And here's what he had to say about this Illinois team. Hold 1 second.
They do what they do extremely well, incredibly physical. They're all on the same page. You know, they want to put the ball down and run the football, play action pass, naked. They want to just beat you up. And they've done that to a lot of people this year. They're a really good football team. They got a ton of experience on that team. A lot of guys who played a ton of football, really good athletes. They do what they do very well. He's done a really good job of coming in and instilling his mentality into that program. I think it shows. Got a lot of respect for him. Obviously he's one of the best college coaches maybe of all time. And you can start to see that blueprint starting to take shape over there at Illinois. And got a lot of respect for what they do and who they are. Especially him as a person and as a coach.
PJ Fleck, he said, as one of the best college football coaches of all time. He's ahead of himself there. But, Carp, if he gets this program to a standard that we see at Iowa and Wisconsin, then I don't care what you say. Hell, I would say that Brett Bielema is one of the best college football coaches of all time. What say you about what he's doing with this program?
Well, for us, what I care about the most is how we view him. And what I mean by that is our bar is lower than others. We've talked about this.
Good call.
Ad nauseum back on 93.5. And really, this is conversations that I know Illini football fans have been having for decades now. Just get us to that 7-8 win kind of expectation. And we'll take the 6 and 6s and maybe once in a blue moon, the 5s and 7s. But just, keep us in the conversation.
Right.
So I think Bielema is going to do that. There's something else I take away from that quote that you played. It sounds like PJ Fleck is kind of positioning this, and I think he may be on to something with this as well, that the Big Ten West power balance, he was talking there kind of like we're an established thing, Minnesota football.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of sounded like that to me. And boy, do we respect what they're doing. I think there is kind of an acknowledgement in what he was saying and how he was saying it. And I don't disagree that Minnesota and Illinois have an opportunity to be at the top of this Big Ten West for however many more years it is. I mean, it could just be one more, to be honest, before UCLA and USC come into play. But
that's a good point.
That's what I take away from it. And if that is the case, and Brett Bielema is to take this program that was DOA when he got here, it's one thing for PJ Fleck to essentially do what Glenn Mason did, but just a little bit better. Minnesota's done this before.
Right.
Within the last 15, 20 years. Illinois has not. And I think by that measure, there's something to it that, yes, Brett Bielema, I would consider him one of the best coaches in the nation in the short sample size that I've seen, knowing what came before him and knowing how quickly they turned what was a complete mess into more than competence, really this year domination in a lot of respects.
Mike Carpenter, my guest on the Dick Van Dyke Appliance World phone line. A couple more minutes with Carp, of course, former host of Tay and Carp right here on ESPN 93.5. I'm throwing Michigan out the window. I don't mean that bad. Like, I know you're going to that game, and I am, Andrew and I are contemplating heading up to Ann Arbor for that game. And listen, we've seen crazier things occur, but for the sake of this discussion, I'm throwing Michigan out of this conversation. You look at your two remaining away games, again, throwing Michigan out, at Nebraska, I think very winnable, at Northwestern, extremely winnable. Then, how about the important games at home? Minnesota, Michigan State, Purdue. But if you just focus on the West, Minnesota at home, Purdue at home. And then, of course, you got to win at Nebraska. You don't want to mess up there. And, of course, Northwestern, which I think would be done. I mean, doesn't it all just scream that, you know what, maybe this is our year?
Yeah, and this is where I think Harry and Trevor were texting about this, and I think Harry asked, he asked, would we trade a bad loss, let's say, or an unexpected loss, as long as you got the Michigan win? Or, like, would you subtract one loss from the season win total for that Michigan thing? You and I both said no. Just get as many as you can.
Right.
And I'm still with that. I think there's something interesting about the schedule coming up. Now, the game on Saturday has some mystery because we don't know if DeVito will play, and I'm going into it assuming he won't, so it would be a nice kind of Willis-Reed situation if he did, right?
Mm-hmm.
And everybody would be super pumped if he's the one under center.
No doubt.
But I get the feeling, let's say they lose Saturday to Minnesota. I would then put ridiculous amounts of money that we are not losing to Nebraska, period. Like a game like that, oddly enough, kind of freaks me out if we win on Saturday.
I'm with
Post
you.
bye week. Because they are not without talent. You know that.
Right.
But push comes to shove, if you lost to Minnesota, I think that team with the bye week would come out guns blazing in Lincoln. So, in a way, I really do think that after the Nebraska game, worst case, you are sitting then at 6-2, whether that win comes against Minnesota or Nebraska. Worst case. So from there, what do you got? Well, the 2 for at home against Michigan State and Purdue. I love playing a past-happy Purdue team in mid-November.
Amen.
Michigan State is a mess.
Yep.
So are we possibly looking at 8-2 going into the Michigan game? Now, there's other factors like injuries that could come into play, but I think, oddly enough, 8-2 is a pretty likely win-loss record when you go into Ann Arbor. Now, imagine we've been waiting for game day, and we may not get game day here, but would they not consider that if it is a 11-0 or 10-0 Michigan team and an 8-2 Illini team?
Yeah, or even 9-1.
Yeah,
I mean,
possibly.
Yeah,
but we're having this conversation. That's insane. I said before the year, I said 7-5 was it was kind of lofty in my mind, thinking everything would have to go right. Well, now I'm thinking if everything goes right, we're looking at 9-3, and that's factoring in a loss other than Michigan, which is very possible.
Yep.
But how about that?
It would be incredible. It would be incredible for this program to be in Indy. It is a program that, honestly, I don't ever really anticipate winning a Big Ten West until now. And it's a program, like you duly noted, that you've got USC, UCLA coming in. I don't know what that means. I don't know if they're automatically in the West. Illinois stays in the West. I don't know if they go to divisions. I don't know if they go to tiers. I don't know what else they do. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen in the future, and I've lamented the idea that some things may change because even though Illinois hasn't taken advantage of being in the West, all of a sudden in this maybe final year of it, they have or they are taking advantage, and that's the one thing that I'll always, I think, remember. I've got one more. How sweet was it just to beat Iowa? I know it wasn't pretty, but you beat Iowa.
Yep. Juan, this is going to sound kind of weird. I mean, I got I had this moment Sunday morning, and maybe it was because I was slightly hungover. I don't know, but I mean, who wasn't at least emotionally hungover after that game?
Amen.
I mean, it means more. It means more.
Yep.
I was a senior in college the last time. It was the post-Rose Bowl year. And even though you beat Iowa in 2008, that season was shaping up to be a disappointment. If you recall, we got the game-winning field goal. But inexplicably, Zook took this random timeout to leave plenty of time for Iowa to maybe do something. You're leaving the stadium and you just know, oh my God, is this the end? I've seen the Turner thing. Please, this might be the end of. So that didn't have the same catharsis as this. And I use the word catharsis because Iowa football, we talk about them being the model that we want Illinois to be, and I would certainly agree with that. I never want our offense to get as putrid as theirs, but that's a whole other story. But yeah, it meant more. And there were many times in that game, my dad and I are in there. I mentioned on the last podcast, Memorial Stadium at night. There's something about that stadium at night.
I love it.
It brings out this nervous energy, but sadly, some of that nervous energy is from failures in years past.
Yes.
At night.
Yes.
So it felt almost like an exorcism, which I know is a very kind of hyperbolic thing to say, but for me, while I believed in the team already, and it's not like my belief would have been shaken had they lost, even in devastating fashion, I think we kind of needed that win. Maybe more than we even would have said in the tailgate lots. And I think now that we're on the other side of it, whatever doubt might have still been lingering about this team or maybe just this coaching staff's ability to maintain and turn this into a long-term winning kind of thing. And for me, that's gone. And I'm just like, wait, I'm going to be so relaxed on Saturday. I don't know about you, but before the game, I'll be excited, but I'm not going to be nervous.
Right.
We're 5-1. We're playing good football, and we're going to lose another game or two, and that's okay. And it might be Saturday, but there was some other mental hurdle that I had to clear, and I think a lot of Illini fans had to clear. And for me, I felt like I cleared it with the way that they won against Iowa, too. A game that really we had no business winning when you turn the ball over 3 times.
Right.
And your backup kicker has to make all your points, and your starting quarterback goes out. You won that game. So that to me, it's one thing to beat Iowa. It's another thing to exercise all the demons of my lifetime as an Illini football fan. It felt like that one night.
You said it well right there. I mean, I could not say it any better. It was an excellent answer to that. All right, I see you're doing a 200 level tonight. Is that right?
Yeah, so 7 o'clock, we got a YouTube live stream, so people can just search 200 level on YouTube. We got the chat window going so people can contribute along the way. I'm going to have Trevor on Thursday evening. We'll get you on sometime soon.
I know. I apologize. You've asked, and I just haven't been able to make it happen. I apologize.
Well, we'll get it going, and I'm sure you're in the same boat as I am, that I'm just trying to consume as much Illini media stuff as I can. So, and on the same token, I'm trying to pump as much of it out, because while I do anticipate there's staying power in what's going on with Bielema and this football program, in the moment, I'm still going to relish it as much as possible. So, yeah, we're going to be hitting up 3 podcasts until this team gives me some reason to not do. Even in the bye week, we're going to find things to talk about. So it's just a lot of fun.
The P's are doing all right, I assume. Kara doing well. Rosie, how's everybody?
Yeah, Rosie's doing great. Everyone's doing great. It's we're going to have the whole crew out for homecoming on Saturday. Nice. A bunch of friends coming down from Chicago. And that was planned anyways, but we used to, for so many years, just look forward to the tailgate, and the tailgates are so much more fun.
They are.
When you have a game that you want to go into, and that's what Saturday is going to be like.
You're the man. Mike Carpenter, it is always great to catch up at Fanboy Carp. I will probably see you Saturday. Let's make it a point. Lucas flying home for homecoming, so nice. I'd love for you to see him as well. So I'm sure you're doing the running club. You'll be out running with Josh Whitman, and I'll see you after that.
Well, I don't know, man. That's for an 11 a.m. game. That's 7 a.m. like 5 o'clock somewhere. I mean, we aren't waiting for that. So I will save my run for Sunday morning, but I will definitely stop by and say hi to you guys, because you're right on the way for us to the stadium. So I'll come say hi for sure.
Carp, always great to catch up, buddy.
Yep, absolutely, bud. We'll see you.
Okay, man. That is Mike Carpenter. He's the man when it comes to some Illinois memories. The guy knows things and remembers things that I've never seen anybody else in my life. It is just truly amazing. Even talking about the Iowa win in 08 when Zook took the timeout. When he said it, I was like, oh, I do remember that. But I don't know how he just constantly remembers that stuff. It's incredible. All right, Mike Carpenter joining us on the Dick Van Dyke Appliance World phone line. We're going to stay in that realm. When we come back, Derek Piper. He was up yesterday and today at Big Ten Basketball Media Day in Minneapolis, Minnesota. He's going to join us next to chat about that and what he heard. We'll do it all next. It is The Drive.
It's the most enchanting time of year. Pumpkins, gourds, and mums appear, and you can get it all this fall at Prairie Gardens. Create your dream garden with an explosion of color with the prettiest mums around. All on sale, and you'll love the fresh cabbage, kale, and pansies. Plus a bounty of pumpkins and gourds aplenty. With PG plant experts always on hand to answer your garden questions. At Prairie Gardens, locally owned. Plant experts, extraordinary gardening, home decor, and more.
Have you been to Pards in Urbana? Well, you need to go to Pards in Urbana. Here's what people are saying. Great customer service, friendly staff. They treat you like family. I love Pards. I was very impressed. Great service. Very neat store. I was greeted and asked if they could help me. That's why you should go. Check them out. It's Pards in Urbana. They're between University and Maine. It's on Maple. Pards in Urbana, or visit pards.com. Pards.com.
I've got to clean out this garage. Let's see. What's the cheapest and easiest dumpster service in our area?
Here's what I found. The doggy bag.
Think she's broken. I'm not looking for takeout. Siri, try again.
The doggy bag from Bulldog Disposal in Mahomet.
Doggy bag? What's that?
If you got junk that needs to go, but you don't want the hassle of having an enormous dumpster delivered, grab a doggy bag, keep it as long as you need. They'll come take it away. For more information, just visit bulldoggybag.com.
That's bulldoggybag.com.
Norm Miller here, chairman of Interstate Batteries. You know, without batteries, life would be pretty lifeless. That's why Interstate All Battery Centers carry them in every size, shape, and style so you can drive, drill, call, film, or do whatever it is you want to do. Stop in today. They've got the power to keep you going. Interstate All Battery Center. Outrageously dependable.
Interstate All Battery Center. You'll find them outrageously dependable just over Interstate 74 at 2504 North Mattis Avenue in Champaign, with batteries for most every application in stock.
Hey, it's Stevie J. I've got a Stever offer for you today from Kelsey's Furniture. Kelsey Furniture is in Tuscola, and they sell Tempur-Pedic beds. These are amazing, one of the top-rated mattresses ever. But don't listen to me. Listen to my friend Steve about Tempur-Pedic and what's it like.
I'm going to tell you right now, Stevie, that thing is the best thing I've ever slept on in my life. My wife and I both have said we've never had better night's sleep. And the people at Kelsey's were fantastic. Brian is the guy that helped us. You know, as much as I did my research, he had a world of knowledge about beds themselves. Oh, man, it's like sleeping on a cloud, man.
If you text me 217-359-2255, text in bed right now, and you have a chance to get $1,000 toward your Tempur-Pedic bed. They start at $3,000, but it's the last bed you ever buy. 217-359-2255 if you're interested. Text in bed from Kelsey Furniture right now.
Long's Garage in Urbana and Jasper Engines and Transmissions offer cost-effective solutions to your present engine or transmissions trouble. Avoid a costly new car purchase or high lease payments by putting new life into your present vehicle. Let Long's Garage install a Jasper remanufactured engine or transmission with a 3-year, 100,000-mile nationwide warranty and available premium service plan. Call Long's Garage at 367-3942. Long's Garage, 217-367-3942.
Hey, this is Ben Grice from the Humble Hog in downtown Paxton. And grilling season, it's here. Are you ready? If you're a seasoned barbecue pro or a total amateur, take your meal to the next level. We've got our sauces bottled and ready to go. We've got Rub, the best spices to take your barbecue to the next level. Or if you've got a big crowd, we even have extra meat. Dine in or take it home. It's super quick. You can order our sauces and our rub online at humblehogbbbq.com.
The fall is a perfect time to start fresh if you want to see a brighter you. Beautiful changes happen every day at Merle Norman. Whether you have a special event coming up or you're just in the mood for something new, you'll love our makeover service. Experience the power of a Merle Norman makeover today. Available now at 706 West Market View Drive, next to Subway. Merle Norman Cosmetics. Call today to schedule your time. 217-359-8100.
Illinois football is back. Shop at Game Day Spirit this fall and gear up to support your Fighting Illini football team. With great football designs and brand new apparel from top brands, they're the one-stop shop to get everything you need this football season. Shop with them at the corner of Neal and Kirby in Champaign, 6th and Green in Campustown, and online 24/7 at GameDaySpirit.com. Game Day Spirit, where Illini fans shop.
Hi, it's Stevie J. Start your day with me along with Diane Ducey, weekday mornings 7 to 9, here on ESPN Radio 93.5.
Man, all right, Kyle, how about Devontae Adams getting a little pushy?
I know, that was...
Last night. First of all, it was a BS thing to do. Childish. Secondly, the photographer, the freelance dude, needs to get his, get out of the way. What are you doing? And thirdly, you're pressing charges for that?
Apparently he went to the hospital for the injuries despite popping back up.
I've fallen harder in tailgate lots. Actually, I haven't. That's a true story. Hey, we're going to update you on baseball real quick. So if you're not wanting to hear it, don't listen. Phillies over Atlanta in game 1 of that series, 7-6. Seattle leading Houston 7-3 in the 8th inning. That game at Houston
the Guardians and Yankees in New York tonight at 6:37. 8:37 will be San Diego against the L.A. Dodgers.
How about the Mariners lighting up Justin Verlander for 6 runs?
Verlander had like an ERA of under – he was like
1.75 or something.
That's unbelievable. Derek Piper, Justin Verlander's got a lot going on in life, doesn't he? Good stuff.
No, he sure does. Yeah, he definitely does. I did want to add that I think the Otog at the Chiefs game needed to get checked out by that Dolphins neurologist. I think you're good, man. You go back into the game, do your job, and you're good.
He'll be freelancing next week in Kansas City. That's exactly right. Can I just get it out of the way, Derek Piper, joining us on the Dick Van Dyke Appliance World phone line. The Cardinals season is done. You and I can talk more about this tomorrow, but, oh, man.
I'm still bummed.
I am, too.
There. I feel like I barely even watched the playoffs.
Right.
I missed Friday's game at Illini Basketball Media Day and then made the decision to go into the Illini game, which was a good one. That was a very enjoyable experience, but not what Pujols deserved. Yachty as well. It's just a very unfortunate send-off for those guys, and the reality of you'd watched your last Cardinals game with Yachty and Pujols is really, really sobering, and all the media contention and DB and Kent Brown made sure, as Cubs fans, to really console us Cardinals fans on the trip and ask if we were okay. But no, they poked fun, but we'll get over it and hope to see the Cardinals back in the mix next year. But that was a tough one to swallow.
It was.
Lineup is it's not like they shelled you, but it was the Cardinals going silent and Goldie and Nana doing nothing, and I wouldn't have had that going into the series.
Frustrating. I know I came out of the Illinois-Iowa game and walked over, and you and your brother and Haley and the crew, they were all watching the Cardinals game, and I got there in the 8th inning, guy on, Goldie up. I'm like, well, let's tie this thing, and let's win it in extra, but it just never happened. So that happens. Well, listen, you had a nice little ride to Minneapolis, man. How nice was that, getting on the jet with Josh Whitman, Brad Underwood, Shauna Green, some players? I mean, that had to have been pretty cool.
Oh, it was awesome. And a big shout-out to Josh for making it happen for sure. And, of course, it helped them to make it worth their while to bring the media so they had someone to talk to when you get up to Minneapolis. It's an 8-hour drive, and we just had a lot of basketball media day on Friday, so I don't know how many people would have actually made that trip. I think it'd be very few, if any, to go all the way up there. We made up probably a fourth of the media contingent, but it was good. And now that I've flown private, I'm not going to say that I can't go back because my pocket's not going to allow me to have that choice. But when you take the bus and it drives you all the way up to the plane, just get on and go through any bag checks or nothing. It's pretty nice. And I think the pilot said we hit like 500 miles an hour on the way home.
Gee, money.
We made that flight in just over an hour. So that was really cool. And to be on the plane with my colleagues, obviously, and then also players like Terrence Shannon, Coleman Hawkins, and obviously Brad and Shauna and the crew. It was a great experience and very appreciative of the opportunity.
I was waiting to see Pipes walk on, throw his sunglasses on, and just pop a bottle open and be like, "Hey, boys, we're flying home in style today." Probably not the best idea to do that. What stood out, if anything? I know you've been to countless now Big Ten Media Days. I thought Brad Underwood gave some good stuff. Coleman Hawkins there, Terrence Shannon. I know Shauna Green had a couple of players there as well. But what stood out to you about having this in Minneapolis, which incidentally will be hosting the women's Big Ten tournament this year and then the men's next season? So kind of what stood out about Minneapolis and what stood out about Big Ten Media Day?
Yeah, I wish it was in Indianapolis or Chicago.
Amen.
But Minneapolis, hey, to go up there in October and yesterday's high be like 80 and today was 77.
Wow.
Without complaining. The Target Center is a very nice facility. They got some nice sporting arenas there. I mean, the Viking Stadium is relatively new, Target Center for the Twins, and then also the basketball arena, so Target Field, I should say. So they got quite a bit going on the sports side up there. But, yeah, I mean, you never take for granted the opportunity to be in there with a bunch of other college coaches like Matt Painter and Fran and just to be around that scene with other players around the league and just get to be that close to those guys and talk to those guys, and it's always really cool. So as far as the Illinois part of it, probably nothing like too groundbreaking, not a ton new, I think, especially in comparison to just talking to them on Friday. But Matthew Meyer did not make the trip. I know that he was a late scratch from Illinois side of things, but I think the moment for Coleman is kind of a big deal for someone that's really had to bide his time to win it. He had to be patient. He had to be patient to where he could be a focal point and a guy that would be relied upon as a primary player. And now for him to be there at Basketball Media Days representing the program and having a chance to really come into his own is a big storyline, and we'll see how that plays for him. But obviously he has loads of potential and great versatility, a really, really good defender. And I know that we talked a little bit about this on Friday, but I think the mindset of this team, Brad said recently that they're a lot further ahead defensively than when they are offensively, and some of that has to do with the freshman guards that are just trying to get acclimated, trying to have the game slow down for them, and just I think overall as a team just trying to find their identity and where to pick their spots and just find who they are offensively. But on defense, they can switch a lot, they can fly around, and Coleman wants to be the defensive player of the year in the league. And Matthew Myers said a similar thing, and Terrence Shannon, Ty Rodgers, and there's a lot of really good defenders. So that's been kind of a storyline as well. So it was cool just to be up there and know that when it's Big Ten Basketball Media Days of the season is just around the corner, and I can't wait.
Terrence Shannon Jr. named All Big Ten preseason. Illinois picked second, if I have my stats correct. What did you think of those two things?
I know that Brad spoke on that today as far as being picked second is just the respect the program has in the Big Ten means a lot to him, and it said a lot about what Brad has done. I mean, I couldn't remember a time where Illinois taken guys to media day who collectively, like, you could still throw Matthew Meyer there. I know it's a new environment in college basketball, the transfer portal, and you got very experienced starting level type of guys in Meyer and Shannon, but still the point holds. Like, Coleman Hawkins has started less than 10 games for Illinois for sure. So of the three, you've got like less than 10 starts, and on that team is projected to finish second in the league. Now, part of that also is, well, it's yet again a very, very deep conference, a lot of parity. I think you're going to once again see a lot of teams get to the NCAA tournament. Last year it was 9. Last 2 years actually has been 9 NCAA tournament bids. It's just the top end of that conference, at least at the outset of the season, isn't as strong as we're traditionally, or at least in the last couple of years, used to seeing. Like, if Indiana, I think the AP poll comes out next week, and Indiana is the team that is projected as the favorite right now. If they're not a top 10 team, I was doing some digging. That'd be the first time since at least 1980 that there hasn't been a preseason top 10 team in the AP poll out of the Big Ten. So, that says a little bit about the league as far as having a national contender. Can Illinois be that as the season matures? Yes. Can Indiana be that if some of their young pieces complement Trace Jackson Davis, Race Thompson? Yes. So I think Illinois is deserving of being up there. I would have them. I had Indiana 1, Illinois 2 as far as my own rankings. And Terrence Shannon Jr. is someone that is an athletic freak, obviously, an above-the-rim athlete, a really good defender, and has made himself into a pretty darn good three-point shooter. He shot 38% from three last year, which is a career high, and now has an opportunity to play with the ball in his hands a little bit more. And I think he'll tell you he's the healthiest he's felt, and I think that'll help him get to the free throw line. So he can be a first-team all-league guy potentially, definitely in that second-team range, if not, and maybe even an outside chance at a Big Ten Player of the Year candidate. But I think he'll be Illinois' leading scorer, and I'm excited for what Terrence can do this year.
Derek, is it true that Kevin Warren referred to Illinois as Illinois University for the second time at a Big Ten media event?
I can confirm that was the case, yes. I was pretty – as soon as Kevin Warren takes the mic at 8 a.m., you start to tune out and get a little sleepy. And but, yeah, I was conscious enough to recognize that. Because the thing about Kyle, as you work your way through this media industry, for some reason, the media contingent decides that we have to go to an establishment the night before and usually stay until they tell you to go home. And so then when you back that up with Kevin Warren at 8 a.m. the next morning, you don't remember everything he said, but I do remember him saying Illinois University.
Oh, man. Yeah, I feel bad for you, Pipes, on that end.
Yeah. It's just part of the job.
You get in those hotel rooms, you get them really cool. The drapes are always fantastic to where it's so dark, it's unbelievable, and all you want to do is sleep for like 20 hours, and then you remember, wait, I got to go listen to Kevin Warren. I mean, that's a hard wake-up call. There's no doubt about that. Oh, my. Well, listen, Pipes, we've missed you the last 2 days. We got plenty to talk about when you get back, and you'll be here tomorrow, and, of course, tomorrow, Thursday, and then Friday. We're going to be at Pia's. Jay Lehman's going to join us. We'll work on maybe another guest out there. I know Pipes will work on getting the Minnesota media contingent here from 24/7 possibly to join us to talk about the Gophers. Heard from P.J. Fleck today. His press conference yesterday was a good one. So plenty to talk about as we gear up for Minnesota and Illinois on homecoming. So I'll see you tomorrow, buddy, and we'll start doing that.
Yeah, it sounds great. Excited for this week, excited for Pia's, and chance to break down another huge matchup here in Champaign for a 5-1 football team. How good does that sound?
Oh, man, I love it.
Let's go.
Pipes, be good, buddy.
We'll do. See you tomorrow, man.
All right, man. That is Derek Piper joining us on the Dick Van Dyke Appliance World phone line. We've got a lot of your texts coming in on the U of I Illini Link text line. We'll try to get to some of those, but right now I'm heavy for a break. Got to get to that now. It is The Drive.
Wouldn't it be nice to visit a car dealership where you didn't feel like you were at an auction? Or didn't feel like you were being taken to the cleaners?
I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse.
Welcome to Sarah Champagne. At Sarah, they offer a one-price promise. Every vehicle at a fair price, no negotiation, only the best price. Sarah Champagne, Honda, BMW, GMC, Buick, and Subaru. SERRA Champagne.com.
It's time to visit Prairie Gardens, your one-stop fall shop. Greenhouses are filled with mums, cabbage and kale, fresh pumpkins, and more. And inside, a fall wonderland awaits. Handmade wreaths for the door, fall candles and scents, unique home decor at prices you'll love. Save half off all silk stems, bushes, and garlands. Plus, all Halloween decor is on sale. Take an additional 25% off at Prairie Gardens. Locally owned since 1964.
Saturday, March 25th, it's Cody Johnson and Friends. Live in concert at State Farm Center.
You're gonna love somebody, hold them as long and as strong and as close as you can until you can.
Tickets are on sale now for Cody Johnson and Friends.
I guess all I'm saying is forgive me if I don't know what I'm doing. I'm still learning to be human.
With special guest Randy Hauser.
Let me show you how country feels.
Cody Johnson and Friends. Live at State Farm Center, Saturday, March 25th.
On my way to you. On my way to you.
Tickets for Cody Johnson and Friends are on sale now. Get yours at StateFarmCenter.com, the Illinois ticket office, and by phone at 866-ILLINI-1.
Hey, it's Stevie J. I've got a Stever offer for you today from Kelsey's Furniture. Kelsey Furniture is in Tuscola, and they sell Tempur-Pedic beds. These are amazing, one of the top-rated mattresses ever. But don't listen to me. Listen to my friend Steve about Tempur-Pedic and what's it like.
I'm going to tell you right now, Stevie, that thing is the best thing I've ever slept on in my life. My wife and I both have said we've never had better night's sleep. And the people at Kelsey's were fantastic. Brian is the guy that helped us. You know, as much as I did my research, he had a world of knowledge about beds themselves. Oh, man, it's like sleeping on a cloud, man.
If you text me 217-359-2255, text in bed right now, and you have a chance to get $1,000 toward your Tempur-Pedic bed. They start at $3,000, but it's the last bed you'll ever buy. 217-359-2255 if you're interested. Text in bed from Kelsey Furniture right now.
Here's what new customers are saying about Interstate Batteries.
It's nice to see capable and helpful associates. They did a top-notch job.
They were easy to talk to and explained everything.
Service was prompt and I was a walk-in. Total service time was only like 20 minutes. I highly recommend Interstate Batteries.
Interstate Batteries, outrageously dependable. How much is dependable worth? Experience them for the first time at 2504 North Mattis. Way out there, but worth the drive. Interstate Batteries, outrageously dependable.
Visit interstatebatteries.com.
Switching is easy. We do it all the time. We switch on the lights. We switch TV channels. Some of us switch partners while square dancing. Well, that's a stretch. But what's not a stretch is how you can switch and save with State Farm. In fact, State Farm agent Kurt Lenschow right here in Champaign-Urbana can switch you over so you can start saving today. Kurt and his team are ready to welcome you to the State Farm neighborhood. It's easy to switch and save. Just give them a call when you want the real deal. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Hi, it's Stevie J. Sit back and relax and take the drive with Lon Tay and Derek Piper. Weekdays 4 to 6 right here on ESPN Radio 93.5.
Oh, hey, I needed that. I cannot get out of this funk. And I know every year, Kyle, about this time, that it's getting darker out, it's getting cooler. I'm telling you, all I want to do is go home and go to bed and watch Netflix or something. I mean, it's like... Man, I've been watching this Jeffrey Dahmer stuff. You're too young for that.
I know.
Well, you're not. I mean, you're a freshman in college, but
I like true crime stuff. I was thinking about watching that.
It's just really...
Everything I've heard has been like, man.
You just can't get any stranger than that dude.
Yeah.
I mean, it is just sick and twisted and weird. I don't know. All right, Kyle Tosk, you've had a lot, and I appreciate this, on the U of I Illini Lake text line. We've had a lot of people text in about how great of a job you've done. You did a great job today, man.
I greatly appreciate it.
And I'll be honest with you, I had zero thought that you wouldn't, honestly. So I appreciate it. Obviously, filling in for Pipes today was who, of course, we just heard from. Heard from Derek Piper and also Mike Carpenter here on the Dick Van Dyke Appliance World phone line. Thanks to everybody that texted in on the U of I Illini Link text line. Don't forget to check that out. Got to grab it. Go to homecoming.illinois.edu. That's homecoming.illinois.edu to find out all the homecoming events that are coming up this weekend this week and weekend for Illinois homecoming. And then, of course, the game Saturday at 11 a.m. against Minnesota. Stevie J and Diane Ducey had Brett Bielema on this morning for about 8 minutes. So if you didn't catch that, make sure you go to StevieJ.com. That's StevieJay.com. Go to the podcasts, and you go to the Stevie J Show, and you can hear that from this morning. It'd be the second hour of their show. You've already had hour number one podcast.
Hour one is up.
Why haven't you done
hour
two?
We're not off the air yet.
Oh, that's right. See, I keep forgetting this. All right, Kyle, thanks for filling in, buddy. Great job.
Thank you very much.
Great job. It's I'm glad that... Oh,
boiler up.
There you go. You got one more. Got one more in you. All right, everybody. You guys have a great night. Pipes is back tomorrow. Oh, I was going to tell you this. We'll be at Pia's Friday. We will be at Pia's.
I may stop by this week.
Oh, okay. Get there. Yeah, 4 to 6 at Pia's. You can meet Kyle. How about that? See you tomorrow, man. It is The Drive.
Times are tough in Illinois. Thanks to Mike Marin, they're only getting tougher. I'm Cynthia Cunningham. I'm the wife of a retired police officer and spent my life working for seniors so they have the best health care and services. In Springfield, I'll tackle rising costs by cutting gas and grocery taxes. I'll fight for lower health care costs by cracking down on corporate price gouging from drug and insurance companies. And I will always fight to protect a woman's right to choose from extreme politicians. That's why I'm supported by Planned Parenthood. I'm Cynthia Cunningham. My opponent, Mike Marin, is hanging our families out to dry. Marin voted to double gas taxes and against lowering prescription drug prices while pocketing thousands from special interests like Big Pharma and the gambling industry. Marin voted to outlaw a woman's right to choose even in cases of rape and incest. I'm Cynthia Cunningham, candidate for state representative. Tell Mike Marin the game's up. Paid for by the committee to elect Cindy Cunningham.
If you're a truck driver or know a truck driver, listen to this. Gale Frericks Trucking is looking for regional drivers who can also help with the harvest. Help with the harvest, drive in the Midwest, and always be home on weekends. Gale Frericks Trucking is hiring a regional driver who can help with the harvest and offers great pay and great benefits. Work for a local company who values your time and your family. Gale Frericks Trucking wants to talk to you. Just email Dixie at gftlog.com. That's Dixie at gftlog.com.
See you Elks Lodge 2497 and the Urbana Police Department Fraternal Order of Police Lodge 70 Shop with a Cop are teaming up again this year to be sure that local kids in the community have a warm coat this winter. Give a monetary donation through November 1st. Drop off their donation to the Elks Lodge located at 903 North Dunlap in Savoy during business hours Tuesday through Sunday 3 p.m. to 10 p.m. Any questions, please call the Elks Lodge in Savoy at 217-359-2497.
You're listening to WSJK ESPN 93.5 Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana, your home for the St. Louis Cardinals.